There is a reason why people are asking about this. This is by far, and I'm a supporter. 3 times I voted for this man. This is by far the biggest fumble of the administration they've had thus far. And here's the reason why. If you remember the president winning, he had a conversation with Fox News, the great Rachel Campos Duffy, and she asked, Mr. President, 9/11, yes. John F. Kennedy, yes. Epstein, he didn't say yes. He was a little bit hesitant of bringing that information out. Why? So why does his leadership team go out there and are like, we have this information and we're going to release this and cash? And let me tell you what we have with Pam Bondi out of the state of Florida. She knew everything about Bondi, about Epstein. Why are you fumbling this? Why are you not having an emergency meeting together to conversate and say, hey, we're going to be on the same page with messaging on this? All you have to do is send a message to everybody, say, God, let's have a conference call. Here's what we're going to be saying about this, because this was a very important issue to not 80% of the voters that voted for President Trump, but I think 20% of the voters wanted to know what's going to happen. It's a big letdown. Normally when I come, I give a very positive message. My only suggestion, no more fumbles. You're having the greatest start ever as a president. There's going to be Nobel Prize, but a lot more than that. I believe he has a shot at going down as one of the greatest presidents of all time and competing for some of the top 5.
Yes, for 3 days straight, the mainstream media is now talking about this Epstein lease. When you take a look at what is going on now, it's a topic of discussion. Then it bothers me a lot, like what took them so long? When the Biden administration started, they were not talking about this. I saw the mainstream media blowing up like, where is the lease? Now the Trump administration coming in, you can see the hatred toward Trump. When it concerns Trump, you will see them being serious. Yeah, they will carry it, they will broadcast it every day because they realize that the MAGA movement is talking about this. They are not happy with the Trump administration. It has triggered them to now start talking about it. That should tell you the level of hypocrisy with these people.
Wonderful guy, and he's a very straight shooter. He's all heart. He's totally earnest. I don't believe Dan is lying to us. I don't. I don't know Cash as well. I don't mean to indict him at all. I'm just saying I don't know him the way I know Dan, who's been coming on the show for years. We've had many long hours and hours and hours. This is like you. I know him like I know you. Like, no one's going to convince me he would go out there and just blatantly lie. I don't believe it. So let's go down the line of he's telling the truth and Cash is. Again, we're checking Pam Bondi's weird statements for now. I know somebody very close to the Epstein case. I've never said who this is, but this is a very, very well-informed person. And this person from the beginning has told me that Epstein was into young girls. I don't know what he looked at online. I believe he probably did look at what now they just, I believe he was probably into that. But this person was saying in terms of what Jeffrey wanted brought to him at his mansions and his, island, it was the barely legal type. And in many states, that's not unlawful. The 17-year-old partner for a grown man is actually not illegal. Now, in some it is, and he got in trouble in Florida. So it is a possibility that was his thing.
Yes, watching CNN few hours ago, they are telling us that this investigation is not over, meaning that after the Trump administration is out of power, they will continue with these in the next administration. That should tell you one thing. Ask yourself these questions. The mainstream media was never interested in talking about this topic. Out of a sudden, I'm watching it on CNN, MMBC. Why are they doing that now? Because it is Trump. What exactly is actually happening here? When Biden was there, this topic came up on social media. They call it conspiracy, things like that. But now the Trump administration telling us that this investigation is over has triggered them because the MAGA movement is reacting to it. They are not happy. Reasons. You see the mainstream media now playing the card of neutrality.
So it is a possibility that was his thing when it came to actual social interactions. Forget what he was looking at online. And it is a thing that, he had some of those girls who weren't committing crimes with powerful men. And that while he had a very interesting black book that had names including Donald Trump's in it, that doesn't amount to a client list. And there aren't young girls who can point the fingers. There is Virginia Giuffre, who recently died, who was the girl pictured with Prince Andrew in those infamous Daily Mail photos that we've all seen, where she was, I think, 17 and with Prince Andrew. And this is why he got excommunicated from his family. She says the girls were being funneled out to third parties, to other men, and that she was one of them. But I'm sorry, Virginia Giuffre is was, God rest her, I'm sorry, liar, a proven liar. And not only do I firmly believe she lied about Alan Dershowitz, and she admitted she might have been confused about him. A lot of stuff she said turned out to be just totally false. It's complicated because these victims, these predators choose them for a reason. They'll choose a girl like that because they know maybe she's going to have credibility problems and so on. So I'm trying not to be disrespectful to her, but there's no question that Virginia Giuffre did tell a lot of lies. And there's a lot of other people who went down, saw dollar signs in their eyeballs, because let's not forget he was very rich, and said, I know something, I want to pay out, or I was a victim and I want to pay out. And it wasn't always true. All of these are complicating factors in like the lure around him. And it is possible this guy did not want to spend the rest of his life in prison. I am a supporter of the president, but this is not going well. And they need a shift in strategy. And I really think what needs to happen is, I volunteer to do it because I am not conspiratorial, but I totally understand the Epstein case very well and why people have questions about it. I'll sit down with all three of them. Give me Bondi, Patel, and Bongino for 2 hours. Nothing, no holds barred. I can ask anything. And then the audience can see whether they're truth tellers. And I care about them. I don't know Pam as well, but though I know Pam, I don't dislike Pam. I really don't. We go back years at Fox News. Dan is the only one who I consider an actual personal friend. But the audience knows that, and I hope is coloring, that in on assessing my own bias on.
At this point, what I've observed is simple. There are a lot of people who believe in Trump, what he's doing. They support him throughout. But this has caused them to lose some trust in the administration. I'm telling the truth based on the information, what I see on social media. I don't know where this issue actually started. Or they're hiding something. Mike sent this out. The Holy Epstein had Grenade Gate pass around to whatever party is out of power to use against the party in power for not doing more than they did while they were in power. That is it. Someone did not agree with this. When you take a look at an article like this, no, I don't believe it. I think this is a disinfo campaign. I don't think people understand the complexity of this because Epstein is not just a lease or an island. It is connected to everything. I mean everything.
With you, because I find myself with this story. It's such a lurid and horrible story in the actual facts, and then there's such a universe of conspiring about it that I sometimes lose track of like which is in which column. So let me just start by asking, is the Department of Justice's declaration to you, there was no client list, there's nothing further to see here, credible? Have they been transparent? What is your read as someone who's reported on this more than almost anyone else?
Well, first of all, I think the Trump administration has made this one of the pillars of their administration. They have said from the get-go that they were going to be transparent, that they were going to release some files, at least some files, if not all the files. So they were the ones that raised this issue. Yeah.
The lie at this point is not even part of trying to convince any of this is true.
Yes.
The lie is a signal to everybody else involved in the scheme that to the ultimate ends, the United States government will go to protect all of you.
Yes.
And that's the for
Man,
what
is that smart.
purpose?
Can you say that again? Okay,
Yes.
so it's a signal.
The lie is not for you and me. The lie is for those implicated to say.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in these alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable, and I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration.
So the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk.
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ.
Yes, when you look at this carefully, you can understand exactly what has been going on. I believe you've seen this. This is what people are saying. At a certain point, who am I to even judge this? I'm just reporting the news so you can see exactly what is going on here. Thank you guys for always being there, sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly. If you see clips after this, that is for the YouTube algorithm. You can subscribe, share the video.
People line up for my advice, and you're walking away like I'm stupid. It's like,
Why don't we choose more carefully who we're going to lionize?
why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like
She's seriously depressed about how hard it is to live in the White House.
Post this morning alleging that since I said will prevail.
It also shouldn't be racial.
Require Carmelo to run. He had
100.
Has been overwhelming. The lies in their amplification.
This is not going to end. Right is right and wrong is wrong. All good.
If you see any clips after this, that is just for the YouTube algorithm.
What if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense because kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution.
Again, the evidence is still coming in.
This is definitely a self-defense case because it always is one until you...
Because she's fearful of what might happen to her.
Followers for anything. And then
Registration Act is
talking about
term, and you will be very...
Once again, the field was littered with Wintour does.
And black people don't want to live around ratchet black.
how bad is his reputation going to be?
But it did cause me some issues, for sure.